Got to say hey to Bobby Bones and the whole crew back in the studio. Hey, it's Justin Moore, and I'm on today to tell you that my new CD, Kinda Don't Care, is out. I'm also getting a chance to answer the fan questions that have been sent in over the last 2 weeks. Before I start answering, none of this today could have happened without Bobby's support. Thank you, buddy. Marnie from Akron asked, how many days into a tour does it take for you to forget where you are? One day. We usually, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to where we're going because the backs of venues all look the same. So until we get ready to go on stage, we really don't even pay a whole lot of attention. Britt from Morgantown asks, if you get dirt on one of your hats, do you throw it away or can they be cleaned? Are they expensive? It's a very unique question. No, I mean over time, obviously, especially with white straw, you get sweat stains, and it's disgusting, I know. And then touching it and this and that because they're white, they do get dirty. And I just wear one until I feel like it gets wore out, and then I usually toss it out in the crowd. But they're not expensive at all. Straw hats are fairly inexpensive. Shannon from Columbus. I'm seeing you when you come to Columbus in September. Thank you. Somebody already used the line on me in a bar. You look like I need a drink. That's awesome. See you soon. That is awesome. I'm not certain that line works, but if it did, I hope he's a very kind gentleman to you. Elaine from San Antonio asks, what do you make sure is on a tour bus before you pick it for a tour? Fortunately, I've been able to build my own or have my own tour bus built, and my wife and I designed it last year. And so what we did was we tried to make the interior of it look kind of like and feel like our house. So we're on it so much, even with the kids and stuff, that we want it to feel as much like home as possible. So that's kind of the deal with us. Plus whiskey. You make sure whiskey's on there. All right. Lita from Tampa. How much time will your family spend on the road with you? Have they asked for their own bus yet? My family spent a ton of time on the road with me prior to last year. My oldest daughter started school last year, which obviously required my wife and her at least to be there all the time. So they come out whenever they get school breaks and that kind of stuff. But we're on the road a lot less than people really think we are. We don't leave for months at a time. We're home 3 or 4 days a week. So, but if my oldest daughter's in school and my wife has to be there with her, a lot of times I'll take out one of my other daughters by myself or whatever. So they spend quite a bit of time, especially in the summer, on the road with me. All right, Mary Ann from Clarkson asks this. At a typical show, about how many rows can you see out to clearly before things blur? I want to make sure you see me. It depends on the venue. If you're playing in an arena where it's really dark, you can only see the first, 6, 7 rows maybe. If you're playing an amphitheater outside, you can see pretty much everybody, especially if it's daylight, obviously. If it's dark, you can kind of see, the shape of people, not necessarily the the features or whatever, but I hope that answers your question. Molly from Arkansas, Whoopig, asks, we're very proud of you. When do you come back to Arkansas to do a show? Over the last few years, I've tried to do one a year in conjunction with a football game, and this year we are working on a really exciting event if we can make it all happen, and that would be sometime in October. But each year, also in October, for the last 3 or 4 years, I've done a benefit concert, acoustic, for the Benton Boys and Girls Club, and we've raised over $250,000 over the last 3 years for them. So I'm very proud of that. So we'll definitely be doing that in October, and hopefully another football game related show. So Leah from Nolensville is next, and she says, what's the biggest change in the music business I've seen since I have started? Social media and the technology has totally changed it. When I first got into this business, God, over a decade ago, you didn't see the need to do all the things that we do now, as far as from a recording standpoint, tracks and loops and stuff on the computer that's not real instruments. It's stuff that's added into the records for the sound of them. And then from a marketing standpoint, all of the things that we do socially, as far as Facebooking and Twitter and Snapchats and all those things, those things weren't around when I started. And not to mention, the music sounds totally different than it did. I'm kind of the end of the old regime, where it sounded like country music when I started, and even my earlier records and singles were a lot more country sounding, traditional country sounding, than they are nowadays. That's a couple of the changes. Next up is Kathy from Cedar Rapids. What snacks do you stock on the tour bus? Do you lock the drawer to keep them safe? I don't have to lock the drawer because I have my own bus. My band and crew, all those idiots are on a different bus. Snacks though, I eat pretty healthy, but my weakness is chips and salsa. I can go through a whole jar and bag of chips pretty much in a second. So that's my go-to. All right. Tom is in Santa Monica, and he asks, it's great you did a song with Brantley on your new CD. What's it like touring with Brantley? Brantley and I are great friends inside the business, but I'm not just saying this. We're great friends outside the business and talk pretty frequently, even if we're not on tour together. But tours are great and they're fun. They're all different. They all have their positives. But when you actually tour with people who you genuinely are really good friends with, it makes it that much more fun. So it's been awesome. Rena from Muncie asks, Justin, I once saw a rock band that had flames on the side of their tour bus. If you could paint something on the side of yours, what would it be? Actually, I have been able to do exactly what I wanted. I'm a huge Arkansas Razorback fan, being from Arkansas, and my new bus that I built last year is the actual uniform colors from the University of Arkansas. I had to get them released from the school. So they're the actual uniform colors from the university, which is cool. Plus, I have a huge Razorback on the back of my bus, so you'll always know me if you see the big hog. So, Lucy from Brampton asks, who do you text the most with? Excuse me. Who do I text the most with? Probably my wife. Obviously we're out on the road and busy all the time, so we stay in touch. We don't call each other too often, 2 or 3 times a day, but we text all the time. So, Bella is in St. Louis. Do you have any tour plans for the fall? Can you give us the inside scoop? Yes, we're actually doing another headlining tour this fall, which has been a couple of years since we've done, so I'm excited about that. Hopefully we'll be coming your way. Loved all the questions about being Justin Moore and my new CD, Kinda Don't Care. Thank you so much to the fans for always supporting me by coming to see my shows and buying my music. Before we wrap this thing up, one last thank you to my buddy Bobby Bones, my Arkansas brother, for having me on the show today. Always appreciate it, my man.